Welcome to your weekday Cup of the Word. Today we're in Acts 13, and here's really where you split the book of Acts. The first half of the book, the first 12 chapters, are really focused on Peter as the main apostle and the Jews as the people are being preached to. Now in chapter 13, we're going to look at Paul primarily, follow his journeys and his preaching to the Gentiles. This chapter starts off with Paul and Barnabas on what's considered the first missionary journey. They're going to travel through the island of Cyprus. They're going to go up to an area known as Pamphylia and Galatia. And that area of Galatia, you'll probably hear the name. It sounds familiar because there's a letter that Paul will eventually write to those people in Galatia. In that journey, you're going to see John Mark leave, which is a big deal because later on, a couple chapters later, Paul and Barnabas are going to split ways because of John Mark leaving there in Paphos. You're going to see Paul begin to take the primary role in the preaching. Up until this point, it's kind of been Barnabas and Saul. Now it's going to be Paul and Barnabas. You'll see that kind of switch of primary preaching. You're also going to see Paul's sermon in Antioch. Now here's a tricky thing. There's two Antiochs in your New Testament. There's the Antioch that Paul and Barnabas were members of, and then there's the Antioch here that he's going to preach to, which is Antioch Pisidia. It's the Antioch in the Pisidia region. Paul's going to preach there, and he's going to focus on Jesus is the Christ. He's going to prove it through quoting Old Testament passages. He's going to explain how David said the Messiah will have to die and be raised from the grave, and how Jesus actually did that. He's going to explain how Jesus fulfills all those Davidic Old Testament prophecies, the same way that Peter explained how Jesus fulfilled all the Mosaic Old Testament prophecies. And then you're also going to see the reaction to Gentiles converting. As Paul and Barnabas go out on preaching, this is primarily a Gentile preaching journey, and the Jews are going to be very envious of it. As Paul and Barnabas go into every city, they'll start out preaching in the synagogue, and the Jews will hear and the Gentiles will hear. But typically what happens is the Jews become very jealous of the popularity of Christianity amongst the rest of the nations, and Paul and Barnabas will be driven from town to go to the next town. But in every town they go, the church starts, the gospel spreads, and good things begin to happen. Welcome to the second half of Acts, and that's your